could literally sing, yeah, and somebody could take a drum beat and like, doo, like, you know, they could create a whole house out of that ad lib. What's up, guys? It's your girl Phoenyx Novell, and I want to say thank you so much for tuning into another episode of The Right Hustle. Now, this episode is entitled Creating My Very First Vocal Kit. It's actually called the Phoenyx Vox Kit. And my very first one, I'm working on my second one right now, which is just, I don't want to tell you too much, but it's going to be pretty much like double the volume of the first one. It's going to have so many different languages. It's going to be dope as hell. But I want to walk you guys through the process of creating it and the inspiration behind creating it, and tell all of you who don't know what a vocal kit is exactly what it is. All right. So the inspiration to create my very first vocal kit was from seeing all of these different ads on, you know, YouTube, on Instagram, of producers creating drum kits or beat packs or sample packs of like, or even with the effects packs, where you would have all of these different locks, like stock keys or stock drums or stock effects that you can put on your actual stems. If you know anything about writing or creating music, then you know that when you record in the studio, you create individual stems. All right, so if you play the keys and you record it into, you know, Logic or Pro Tools or whatever, you create a stem. So a stem by stem that you're creating. And sometimes you want to put effects on those individual stems. And so when I would go into the studio, usually, like if I'm working on working on a song or writing a song or writing a verse or a chorus for, you know, for another artist's project or a producer's project, I would be in there and I would let all my creativity go. But what the final product would be maybe completely different from everything that I was creating. Or I would have all of this stuff left over. Say, for instance, I would have all of these ad libs, all these melodies, all of this stuff happening, and it didn't make the final cut, and it's fine. But I used to get so overwhelmed, like, okay, this is all great stuff. Not everything, but a lot of it will be great stuff, and I'd be like, well, what can I do with this? It's almost like when you're baking a cake and you have all these ingredients out, and then you have the stuff that you didn't use. Or say, for instance, you made too much pancake batter or cake batter. Let's say cake batter. You made too much cake batter. And now, you know, the cake is made and everything, but you have this bowl and there's all of this cake batter. And what did you used to do? You used to eat whatever was left over, you know, or your mom or dad used to give you the bowl that still had all the cake batter in there, and you just demolish it. I felt like I would get out of these sessions and I would have all of this cake batter left. And I hated to throw it away, but a lot of the stuff, it just went in the trash because it was inspired by this producer's original material. And I hated to, you know, steal it because a lot of it was maybe ad libs over top of lines that they said or something like that. I just like to be nice and clean. Not that it's a big deal or they would care, but I was always kind of confused, like, okay, what do I do with this leftover material? And so at some point, I just started to have a folder. I would just save it. I would save all of my roughage, if you would call it, you know, and just say, okay, maybe it'll give me inspiration to create something completely different later on, or I'll find a home for it later on. And then it became so overwhelmingly full. I mean, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of backed up ad libs from different projects that were unused. And when I started seeing these videos or these promo videos about producers or instrumentalists who was making sample kits where they were just like randomly playing lines or licks on the guitar, on the bass, or on the keys, and they would sell that to people to create new full songs around, a light bulb went off in my damn head. Because the voice is an instrument too, you know? And I'm like, well, why can't I do that? Why can't I? And that's what I did. That's what the fuck I did. I put my voice in a box and I sold it. Bam. Listen to me. It was one of the most exciting things ever. And all I had to do was I just kind of like one by one, was taking these ad libs and bringing them into a new session. I was laying out what the BPM was. I got with an instrumentalist friend of mine and was like, all right, tell me what key this is in. All right. And then basically from there was able to, sometimes I would layer them. Say for instance, it was just a raw ad lib like ooh, or oh. If it was that, I would do oh and oh, and I would just start stacking shit. Like just like that, just layering it up together. Sometimes put effects on them, sometimes leave it raw, sometimes change the dynamic, maybe decrescendo to crescendo. I would completely play with them. And then I said to myself, I'm gonna name these. I'm gonna name them, I'm gonna label them, I'm going to put them in genres like, okay, hip hop, R&B, opera, jazz, smooth, powerful. I mean, I started to label them and I started to make them, like compile this long list until I got to well over 100. And like I said, I wanted to give, I needed to have the metronome and the BPM so that they could just easily slide it into their DAW, you know, if they were using Fruity Loops, if they were using, Logic, if they were using Pro Tools. I needed everything to be able to line up for them because that's the professional way to do it. And so I looked at the layout of these other guys and they did the same exact thing. They had folders, they broke everything down, they created stems, and everything was labeled and professional so that whoever used what, wherever they used it, it was an easy, seamless transition into that program. And that's what I did. That became the Phoenyx Vox Kit Volume 1. That's how I created it. And so many other singers actually reached out to me and they wanted to know, how'd you do that? And I broke it down step by step and I showed them, listen, we do this all the time. I'm always plugging this. This is the Queen. The Queen's throw, my throw pillow, the Queen. Sorry. But we do this all the time. You know, for artists who actually do write or arrange, we're constantly coming up with ad libs that we don't necessarily always use in the song. Sometimes it's just overkill. That was one of the biggest things that I would do. I would do more than enough so that I was never in a situation where I had to go back into the studio and create more ad libs. If I did more than enough, then I knew that I would be able to have everything I needed. And the producer wasn't going to say, hey, can you go back and, you know. And that happened before, you know, of course. Maybe it was too bare for them and they wanted some more. But more often than not, it was like, okay, you have more than enough. Thank you so much. Great. But I just hated the idea of having all of this leftover great stuff. Great emotions. It's just there for the taking. What do you do with that? Then I said, you know what? It's like, you don't want to waste money. You don't want to leave money on the table. Why would you leave all of that potential on the table if you could act? It's like a person who is like a chef, right? You know that you're not going to use all of those ingredients and maybe you have leftover stuff and sometimes you will start to compost or whatever or start to put this shit and you can put it in your garden or feed it to the rabbits or whatever. Like you can actually do something with this stuff. And I have been extremely happy with the results because I was able to branch off into a whole different market. So not only do people who, you know, want me to write a chorus to their song or vocally arrange their song, now what I'm doing with them is inspiring me to create more vocal kits so that I can make more income, more passive income. I can find more ways to increase my revenue because of this opportunity that I have making songs or vocally arranging something for them. And that's the name of the game. You know, I create these videos, especially with the Right Hustle, because I'm not just talking about me writing books or me writing songs. I'm also talking about me being an entrepreneur and realizing ways that I can expand my brand, you know, and ways that you can do it that not a lot of people are even tapping into. But so many of us don't even realize that there's a market for us to tap into because we think, I can't possibly do that. There's no lane made for that already. How? Nobody else has done it. I'm the kind of person to show you that shit can be done that has never been done before. Not to say that there hasn't been vocal sample packs out there done before, but I'm always trying to be innovative, always trying to be ahead of the curve and see ways in which I can maximize my potential earnings based on doing the things that I love to do. Like, not only am I doing art, not only am I writing, not only am I drawing, not only am I creating and manufacturing and building a brand and making beats, I'm doing all of these things, and I want them to be things that I love to do. Because the more you can make money doing what you love to do, the happier you'll be as a person, the more people who are around you will enjoy your presence because you're living on purpose and living fulfillingly, and you're not like suffering and working a 9 to 5 that you can't stand. I make these channels to show people that when you put yourself out there, there's no guarantee. But what's guaranteed is if you don't even try to put yourself out there, is that you'll stay the same. You'll stay in the same old bubble. Nobody will know what you do. Nobody will know who you are. Nobody will know what you have to offer, because you're so afraid that there's no market for what you're doing. You're so afraid that nobody will get it, or nobody. I don't care about that shit. I know that my job is to share. My job is to create. My job is to share. That's where I am doing my part. You being compelled to reach out to me and say, oh my God, I want you in my project. You being compelled to say, oh my God, what's that? How much is that? You being compelled to ask me about what I'm doing and how we can collaborate. That's the universe's job. But my job is to bring forth the things that I feel compelled to do, and to share it with the world, and to leave everything else up to fate in the universe. And I am not regretful, because it has kept me employed. It has kept me financially sustainable. It has kept me happy and feeling like I want to also inspire and empower other people to do the same. Another one of my recent projects was, making oracle cards and sharing my creativity in ways in which that I didn't even think, oh yeah, can I do that? Okay, cool. Quality, of course, I'm not just putting out any crap, but this is another way in which my art can create revenue for the world, revenue for myself, be of value to others, because there are people who have my decks and who love it, and who tell me every single day when they can, oh my God, girl, I picked up your deck. It was amazing. It helped me. It gave me clarity. Thank you so much for making it. That's the moments that I live for. And right now, as I mentioned before, I'm working on my second vocal kit, and it's called Miss International. So I'm not going to give too much away about that one, but I'm so excited about it because I made the first one, and it was such a great experience. Number one, because I realized that I could do it myself. Like, I realized that it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be going into it, and that I could actually use remnants of other creative endeavors to create this whole side hustle of mine that has been extremely successful, more successful than I thought it would be, because it is empowering me to continue to level up. And that's what this is all about. So thank you guys for tuning into another episode of The Right Hustle. Stay tuned for Miss International. If you guys have any topic ideas or questions, please feel free to leave me a message here. Feel free to like and subscribe and follow me, and share these videos to people who you think might really have some benefit in seeing them, okay? It's your girl, Phoenyx Novell again, and this was another episode of The Right Hustle. Peace out.
You're not here, and once again I'm alone.
My name is Phoenyx Novell, and I'm the creator of the Phoenyx Vox Kit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh.
How many singers go to the studio and record way more vocals than they can actually use? What happens to those great melody lines and those stacked harmonies? Where do they go? I made this Vox Kit to inspire the creative process. Producers, singer-songwriters, DJs, and for anyone who's making music. In the Phoenyx Vox Kit, you get 100 vocal samples, free and clear, royalty free, all of me. I make sure that I incorporate stuff like opera and rap lines and just some ooze or belty solo ad-lib lines that you can use no matter what genre of music you're working in. So if you're an artist, singer, songwriter, producer, DJ, and you're interested in checking out my Vox Kit, go to www.phoenixnovell.com. I wasn't born with much, but $1 billion dream. Big cash, thick stash, dripping out my handbag. If you need to borrow, that's so rich, don't ever pay me back. Funny, haters watch and learn, hustling 101 for dummies. If you wanna earn, trust me, I'm the one to study. None of mine ever had shit, but our bloodline is not